Am I the asshole for insisting that my boyfriend pay me for breaking my $3,500 model ship? My F-33 dad passed away and left me one of his last and favorite ship model. I had it on display in my living room. But for some reason I never actually mentioned it to my boyfriend M, 37 of 6 months. Maybe because we don't live together and he don't visit often. The other day he and his friends came over to my place to celebrate his birthday. They got drunk and started throwing the sofa's pillows at each other's. I told them to stop, then went into the kitchen to clean up. I then started hearing loud noise. I walked out the kitchen and saw my model ship in my boyfriend's hands. I rushed to get it, but he passed it on to his friend, and then his friend passed it on to the other friend. I started running around trying to catch it while yelling at them to stop, then my boyfriend grabbed it again. I was so angry I told him to hand it over, but he said I needed to kiss him first. I yelled at him and he tried to throw it to his friend who tried to catch it, but it missed and hit the wall and broke. I lost it. Kicked all of his friend out, then had a fight with him telling him this was a sentimental item from dad and demanded that he pay me $3,500 because this is how much it costs. He left, then called in the morning asking if I was serious about wanting him to pay $3,500, and I said I was dead serious. He started making excuses saying he was drunk, and also, I never told him about this ship and how important it was for me before, both monetarily and sentimentally, so that's on me. We had another fight and then I hung up upon telling him I'm expecting the $3,500 and that I wasn't afraid to take the legal route if I have to. He kept texting asking me to let it go and saying it was cruel of me to threaten him with the law. He had his friends apologize thinking this would be it, but I insisted that he pay me. I get that I might have got worked up over an item and treated my boyfriend badly, but to me it seemed like recklessness on his part. Am I the asshole? Not the asshole. But he is 37? And treats you, mocking you that night, and your possessions like that? You deserve better. Not the asshole. Ship ahoy. What shall we do with a drunken boyfriend? What shall we do with a bully boyfriend? What shall we do with a loser boyfriend? When he breaks an heirloom? Dump him. Nope, not the asshole. I don't take new partners or guests on a tour of my home and indicate everything's value so they know what's financially or emotionally viable for them to break. These people were in your house, disrespecting your things, and broke something important to you. He absolutely should be paying for it to be replaced or repaired. Not the asshole. You didn't treat your boyfriend badly. He destroyed your property, disregarding you when you ask him to stop. This is a huge lack of respect on his part. If he can't respect you more than that, he deserved to be single and have $3,500 less in his pockets. Edit. Also, the lame, "I was drunk" excuse is a big red flag. Alcohol is never a good excuse. He is just refusing to take accountability for his actions. Edit again. WHAAAATI just saw this man as 37 yo. I was certain he was a teenager or very young adult. Please tell me you don't plan on staying in a relationship with this boy. Not the asshole. Full stop. I don't even need to see a picture of that type of model to know it's expensive as hell. I've got $50 Warhammer figures I've spent hours building and painting I'd be fucking furious to see being tossed around like a hacky sack. Let alone a presumably large, intricately detailed model ship. There is no excuse for that behavior even if the ship was a cheap hunk of plastic you picked up at the dollar store. You said no. He and his friends didn't respect that. End of discussion. He owes you $3,500 and a big-ass apology. Not the asshole at all. Even if it didn't have sentimental value and was just a $3,500 ship model you bought at a store, he would owe you the money to replace the item he broke in your home with his friends when you told him to stop. Don't bend on this. Not the asshole. A wise store sign once said, "You break it, you buy it." He kept texting asking me to let it go and saying it was cruel of me to threaten him with the law. Get your money, then get out of the relationship. This guy is not a keeper. His behavior demonstrates a lack of respect. Being drunk doesn't excuse it. A mature and respectful person doesn't play keep away with an item that is obviously on display in someone's home. By definition, an item that is on display in someone's home is valuable for some reason, financial, sentimental. It's why the item is on display. It's common sense. Even if you want to ignore the lack of respect, blame shifting, and use of guilt to manipulate you, why would you want to date someone who lacks basic common sense? Not the asshole. Am I the asshole for telling my 9-year-old son he shouldn't touch girls without their consent? Update. Holy moly. I was not expecting so much feedback. Thanks for affirming my decision and assuring me that I did right by my son. Also, thanks for pointing out that consent is gender neutral. Totally agree and will make sure to emphasize it goes both ways in the future. My husband and I have 3 kids, 2 girls, teenagers, and a 9-year-old boy. Last week I saw him on the playground putting his arm around a girl from his class, and when I asked him about it he said she was his girlfriend. My husband laughed and told him, "Don't break too many hearts." I asked my son if he had asked the girl if it was okay before he put his arm around her and he said no. I gently explained to him that he shouldn't ever touch girls like that without getting their consent first. He didn't know what consent meant, so I had a mini discussion with him about how it's not nice to touch people without permission, and asking first means that you know the other person doesn't mind. My husband was silent during the entire conversation. My son didn't seem to be bothered by our talk, which only lasted a few minutes at most, told me, "Okay," and then went to go play his Switch. After he left the room my husband went off on me, saying that I'm making my son sound like a predator in the making, that it's just innocent playground fun, and that I'm blowing it way out of proportion. I obviously don't think my 4th grader is a predator, but I felt like it was important to teach him about the idea of consent from a young age. However, I do have a complicated history when it comes to this subject, so maybe that's clouding my judgment. Was I the asshole here? I'm making my son sound like a predator in the making. You're doing the exact opposite. Absolutely not the asshole. I'm sorry that your husband has insecurities about this, that's red flag territory for me. I would ask him point blank, how exactly does he think telling your son this could harm him? Because there is no rational answer to this. I hope you can work this out and set him straight. Good luck. Edited formatting. Not the asshole. My sister had that talk with her kids when they were 6 or 7. She didn't limit it to just boys and girls. It's kind of funny, because now her sons will be horsing around and she hears from the other room. I do not consent to wrestling. Stop. Brother's name. Moom. I did not consent to wrestling. Or. Personal space, brother's name. Mom. Brother is in my personal space. Not the asshole. I genuinely don't understand why people think it's weird to teach consent. NTA. I think you gave him a very age-appropriate discussion about consent. Not the asshole. I think kids are innocent and so it would be wrong to tell him off, but if it's more of, as you said, a mini discussion, then why not learn about it? It's good that kids know how to behave as they grow up. Edit. Wow. Thank you for the upvotes. Not the asshole. Every child should have the consent talk. My big question is, was your husband okay when you talked to your girls about consent? This is just the other side of that coin. Not the asshole. Your husband is, and it's a little irritating he feels so offended by calmly teaching your kid consent. Even though you should probably include it's not only about girls. Others also don't want to be touched without consent. Not the asshole. Childhood is for learning. You teach kids manners for meals, the rules of politeness for society, and how to take care of their own hygiene needs. Why wouldn't you teach them the rules of consent and bodily autonomy for relationships? Am I the asshole for smuggling tampons behind my mother's back? I turned 16 this summer and I'm female. My mom has had a rule that I'm not allowed to use tampons until I am 18. This past summer I basically gaslit my mom into letting me buy a box. However, there were strings attached. I could only use them when I went swimming. I told my mom that I brought the box to my dad's house, but I've actually been using the tampons and I hide them really well in the garbage can. I have more boxes that I keep at my dad's. For many reasons, I personally prefer using tampons to pads because they are way more comfortable. Well, my mom is slowly starting to find out the truth of what I've been doing with the tampons. She yelled at me for going behind her back and smuggling them between my parents' houses. I know that what I'm doing isn't right, but I don't know if I'm the asshole here. My mom has had a rule that I'm not allowed to use tampons until I am 18. This is a really dumb rule. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. Your mom needs to realize that it's your personal decision and to let it go. 16 is old enough for this type of thing. BTW, with tampons, there's always strings attached. Lol. Not the asshole. There is no reason not to use tampons before you're 18 as long as you're comfortable with them. Does your mom have some weird belief like the tampons were taking your virginity or something? It's your period, you get to handle it however you like. Info. Why do you have to wait till you're 18? As scary as it sounds, I think you just need to be firm and say, I'm using these because it makes me more comfortable. Sorry you don't like that, but it's my choice. Strong. Not the asshole though. Edit. Just saw your reply to another comment. It's basic misinformation about how vulvas actually work. Virginity is a construct. You're not gonna be tainted because you've had sex or used a tampon. Do what makes you comfy. Less than 3. Sweetie, I'm 64 and I can tell, and you can tell your mom for me, that if I had the option of using tampons when I was your age, I would have. My mom was old-fashioned and I had to use those bulky pads with the belt. I hated it. So no, you are not a asshole. You are a young woman doing what's best for her. You might want to set your mom down and find out why she is like that. Not the asshole. It's really not your mom's business what you're putting in your body openings. Strings attached. Lol. Not the asshole. There is no reason you shouldn't be able to use a tampon. IDK, why you think you're in the wrong here? Am I the asshole for not wanting my husband to go see Batman when our baby is due? My 25F husband, 28M, and I are expecting a baby. As you may know, there is a new Batman movie releasing on early March. My husband is a big fan of that kind of stuff and wants to see it opening day. The issue is that our estimated due date is exactly on that day. I know that only a fraction of babies are actually born on the exact due day, but I have always been very regular on my periods and I have a feeling that I may be one of those cases. He says it is important to see the movie the first day because of spoilers, and that even I end up having the baby that day while he is watching the movie. At worst he would arrived a few hours late and is not such a big deal. He says I am being irrational and emotional because of being pregnant. I am upset because I feel deprioritized by him. Am I the asshole? He says I am being irrational and emotional because of being pregnant. Oh, right, a grown-up man can't wait a couple of days to see a comics movie because spoilers, and you're being irrational and emotional. Not the asshole. At worst he would arrived a few hours late and is not such a big deal. Not the asshole. He thinks possibly being spoiled on a superhero movie is a bigger deal than possibly missing the birth of his child. I'm sorry you're having a baby with someone with such messed up priorities. Oh honey. My BFF went into labor. Her husband drove her to the hospital, then left to go see a movie because he already had the ticket and didn't want to waste it. He is now her ex-husband. Your husband is a massive asshole. You are not the asshole. Hate to break it to you, but baby coming has nothing to do with regular periods. If he wants to go, he goes on the condition he will be called away if you go into labor. Not the asshole. But no, he doesn't get to skip the few hours of labor to watch a movie. Just makes me worry he isn't mature enough for a baby. Potential compromise. He can go to the movie, but if you go into labor he has to skip or leave the movie and join you at the hospital. But to be honest, the fact that being there to support you while you push a small child out of your body, not his first priority, is disheartening. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. Name your kid Gotham and let him know Gotham needs him. He's gonna miss the birth of his kid for the fucking Robert Pattinson Batman? Wow. Edit. Thanks for the gold law. Not the asshole. It's okay for him to think it's important to see that movie on opening day. It's not okay for him to think that seeing the movie on opening day is more important than being there for you during delivery. Not okay at all.